The Patriots are coming off one of their worst seasons since Bill Belichick took over as head coach. Now you might be looking at the Patriots' 8-9 record and thinking, what are you talking about? The Patriots were 2-3 wins away from making the playoffs this year. And back in 2020, when the Patriots went 7-9, I thought the same thing. But when you look at those 2-3 possible wins that turned out to be losses, games like the Bears game, a team that ended up getting the #1 pick who demolished the Patriots, or the Bengals game where a fumble at the goal line cost the Patriots a valuable win, or worst of all, the game against the Raiders. When the Patriots lost on the Miami Miracle back in 2018, it was embarrassing, sure, but you could attribute it to a defensive screw-up. I mean, they happen. But what we saw against the Raiders was pure incompetency at its finest, a ball thrown back into the hands of a defender with that same defender running over our starting quarterback. Now that, my friends, constitutes to pure embarrassment. So trust me when I say that this offseason for the Patriots is going to be one of the most important this franchise has had in years. I mean, we are talking about maybe the 2007 offseason being the last time the Patriots have faced this much pressure to get back to true relevancy. And during that offseason, they proceeded to get two of the best receivers in franchise history and march their way to a 16-0 record. Now, I'm not saying that the Patriots will be doing any of that this upcoming season, but this offseason is still really important considering both the cap situation and the issues that were created as a result of last year's terrible offseason. Now, in terms of the cap situation, New England is in a relatively decent place. They hold the spot for the 5th most cap space at around $38 million. And when you look at their pending free agents, if they play their cards right, they should be able to retain guys like Jonathan Jones and Jacoby Myers for relatively cheap deals. Everyone else on the free agency list will either be re-signed to small deals or become free agents. I can't see Nelson Aguilar re-signing, the same for Isaiah Wynn. And Damian Harris, while I absolutely love the guy, especially what he brings to the table, is both an excellent change-of-pace runner and a great pass catcher, the latter of which he is miles better than Ramondre Stevenson. His lack of production this year paved the way for a younger, cheaper option in Stevenson, who is the obvious replacement for Harris. And then finally, you have Devin McCourty and Matthew Slater, the latter of whom I just found out will be returning to the Patriots for his 16th season, so I'm definitely happy about that, but more specifically, Devin McCourty then. I mean, unless he changes his mind, it's likely that he is going to retire. And so really, the Patriots only have two main guys, plus some add-ons. They have Myers and they have Jones, plus Matthew Slater, maybe Dribble Peppers, Raekwon McMillan. Other than those guys, I can't imagine the Patriots making too many big re-signings this offseason. So that's going to allow them to be able to approach some major options in free agency this year. Now, I would like to talk about this more in a future video, but for the preview, I thought it was at least important to touch on the subject. Now, we need to talk about Mac Jones, because in a pivotal year 2, we saw a major decline in play from the QB out of Alabama. A guy that was praised for his poise and accuracy was making terrible plays under center, from dangerous passes to just flat out inaccuracy. Now, thankfully, New England brought in their savior, Bill O'Brien, a guy that has worked in the Alabama offensive system, and even with Jones himself when he was originally hired for the offensive coordinator job there. However, I still see a lot of skepticism from NFL fans about this guy, and while I think the skepticism is warranted to a degree, as he's coming off a sort of mid-year at Alabama and his last stop in the NFL ended in a total collapse of an organization. We get all that, but he has the potential to work with a QB going into another pivotal year of development with some underutilized talent. Guys like Hunter Henry, Johnny Smith, and Kendrick Bourne may see some life shine back into their roles, not to mention the potential for talent to come through free agency or the draft. Now, offensive line is still a major issue, but a lot of mock drafts have the Patriots taking a lineman in round 1 in the draft, specifically a guy named Broderick Jones coming out of Georgia, who will probably end up being a major improvement over Isaiah Wynn if he chooses to leave. With him, a line made up of Trent Brown, who admittedly is coming off a bit of an off year, but I think he could rebound in 2023. Cole Strange, a guy that the Patriots are hoping to see some good development from in 2023 as well. David Andrews, Michael Onwenu, who might I add, had a fantastic 2022, and potentially Broderick Jones. The Patriots' offensive line could look really good next year. Now, I still think the Patriots are a good team defensively, given now that they have two major threats at pass rushers in Josh Uche and Matt Judon, and a decent secondary, assuming they keep Jonathan Jones, with some room for improvement via the draft or free agency. Now, if there really was a need for improvement, I still think the Patriots need help at linebacker. I felt the same way last year, and the Patriots didn't really do much to address the position. But now, given their cap situation, I think that the Patriots have the potential to be able to get a guy like Jermaine Pratt or Leighton Vander Esch and then snag a middle-round guy in the draft. Now, this definitely is a wish list, and we have no idea if New England will end up going that aggressive when it comes to searching for a good linebacker or two good linebackers, but, just something to consider. Now, I might have been a bit harsh at the beginning of this episode, but what I'm really trying to say is that the Patriots have an opportunity to be really great this upcoming season, but it simply starts with this offseason. I mean, we can't have another 2022 nightmare filled with bad signings and questionable drafting, and then even weirder coaching assignments and depth chart problems. If the Patriots go 8-9 or 7-10 again, unless there's a major injury that causes the team to collapse, I'm going to look directly back at this offseason to determine what went wrong, because something would have had to for the Patriots to be that mediocre again. Believe me when I say this, if the Patriots have a good offseason filled with good signings to help both sides of the ball, and they have a good draft and they manage their depth chart properly, then I guarantee you the Patriots will be back in the playoffs next year. I guarantee you. Because it really does start with this offseason. If the Patriots make good decisions, they will definitely be back in the playoffs next year. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll catch you guys later in the next one. Peace out.